Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick with me? Famous scenes with drama queens and heroes acting out there on a silver screen. Come grab a seat, the popcorn is on me.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Hello, welcome to Meet Me at the Movies. Noel T, man in the second here, hanging out with Adam Long, my good buddy, my good friend, for I don't know how many years, but quite a while now. We spent plenty of time over the years talking movies, Adam, and we still do when we get a chance. So it's good to see you, man.
Good to see you as well, my fellow traveler, just coming back from L.A. for a press junket.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Good for you.
Man,
Good for you.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you, buddy. And thanks for working with me as we tried to kind of reschedule this, and I'm glad we got it on the books. We did lose another Hollywood legend, Diane Keaton, and we always want to do tributes and celebrate these talents when we get a chance to. We'd rather do it when they're alive, but we definitely need to make sure we do it when they passed and when they've gone. And so Diane Keaton, man, what a legend. She inspired by her mother, Dorothy Hall, who was a amateur photographer and a beauty queen. And Keaton studied acting at the Neighborhood Playhouse School in New York City and had a breakthrough stage role in Broadway's Hair. And also worked with Woody Allen to Play It Again, Sam, in 1970. And man, she was one of these talents that when I always watched her, I felt that there was this vulnerability. There was an intellect always in her character, but also an intellect on her off screen. And she was eccentric. There was something eccentric about it. And she was instantly memorable and instantly lovable as well. So Diane Keaton, I'm glad we're getting a chance to talk about her. Some of your thoughts on Keaton before we dive into some of our films.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just leaves a giant hole that could not be filled. I mean, she's in some of the films that shaped me and my taste in film. It's hard to imagine speaking of her in the past tense. And it's kind of like Robert Redford. I can't remember a time when I was thinking about when I knew what movies were, when I didn't know who she was. I can remember hearing about her when Annie Hall came out and looking for Mr. Goodbar. I can remember seeing the posters for that. I would have been about 7 years old when that came out. Obviously wasn't going to see that in a theater, but in Annie Hall, my dad had conditioned me to believe that Woody Allen was not funny, and I believed that for many years. Until I finally went out on my own and sought out. And the movie that actually made me a believer in Woody Allen was Annie Hall. I watched it. It was a game changer for me, which it was one of the films we were going to talk about anyway. So I can say that it was everything I wanted in a movie. It was, it's funny, it's sad, it's romantic, it's there's so many great one-liners there. It's has many astute observations about things. It's just, I was 19 when I saw it, but I immediately thought, oh my gosh, this movie is amazing. And I always wondered what kind of movie could beat out Star Wars for Best Picture. And Annie Hall had done that, and seeing it, I understood. Not that Star Wars isn't a great film, of course it is, right. But I understood when I saw Annie Hall. I thought, it's equally as good as Star Wars in a different way, and I can love it equally, which I do, and it is just an amazing film. So that was my first real serious impression. I'd seen the Godfather films, but that was the one that really cemented the deal.
Well, Annie Hall, it broke the mold. I guess it redefined the mold. I mean, when you think about rom-coms and the rom-com heroine, it's Annie Hall. I mean, it's Diane Keaton's performance there, and her signature style exploded from that film. You mentioned the awards, Oscar, Golden Globe, BAFTA, Best Actress. I mean, she just dominated. And when one of the things I wanted to make sure I also mentioned about Keaton is she was a fashion icon because she wore what people would consider men's clothing, and it was inspired and it was chic. She had these slouchy suits, the vest, the gloves. I mean, she found a way to break beyond film and inspired a whole generation of women to model themselves after her in a lot of different ways. And we talk about her being an actor, but she was also a director, producer, photographer, a writer, and her versatility from being on camera and on stage. She could do romantic comedies, but she could also do period dramas and ensemble films. And she found a way to be able to do it all and do it her way. And Annie Hall, I think, was the perfect launching point for us to be able to see what she was capable of, for sure. Well, give me another one on your list, and then I'll give you one on mine, man.
Well, yeah, just briefly talking about Annie Hall, I will say that film was a much longer film. There was a whole subplot about a murder mystery that was cut from the original film, and Woody repurposed that for a 1993 film he did with her, Manhattan Murder Mystery, which is just an interesting bit of trivia. He basically dusted off that part of the film that didn't get used, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, and also her name is Diane Hall, and so that was
right.
another little twist, kind of paying homage to that with the name Annie Hall. So
yeah,
I had to throw that in as well. All right, buddy, give me another one that you want to make sure you cover on your list.
Yeah, well, I think the next logical step would be to talk about the film he made the following year, which was 1978. With the success of Annie Hall, Woody Allen had bought himself a golden ticket, as they say, where he could pretty much do whatever he wanted to, as you do when you have a huge success. And he was a huge fan of Ingmar Bergman, the Swedish director, and he decided to go in a totally different direction. And he made this really, really serious film called Interiors, which I think is just a masterpiece. Now, I saw it after I had seen Annie Hall, and I did not get it at all, I'll be honest, when I was 19 years old. But once you've lived a little bit of life, you see what a wonderful film this was. I think audiences finally did catch up with it. It was not a success when it came out. It's a very dark story about three sisters and their parents' marriage is crumbling. And Diane Keaton's character, basically, she's a writer who's a successful writer, but she feels like her writing and her work is terrible, and that she's basically pulling a fast one over on the public, and she can't imagine why people would buy her stuff, and she just feels like her work is awful. And this is contrasted with her youngest sister, who is, or maybe it's I think it's the middle sister actually, who wants to express herself deeply, emotionally, artistically, and she can't. She has no talent. She can't write. She can't play an instrument. And then you have the mother, who is just her world is so structured, and she's so everything. I think it was Roger Ebert who said that in his review of the film, that you look at the stuff in the apartment of the mother, and you feel like if you picked anything up like a vase, you would see like a circle where it goes. Everything is just so compartmentalized and structured and everything, and this rupturing of her world by her husband's, played by E.G. Marshall, who plays Clark's father-in-law on Christmas Vacation. His dissolution of the marriage is just something she can't handle. And so it's just a really phenomenal movie that is just incredible. I can't say enough good words about Interiors, which I think people should go back and peek in on that one. If they saw it earlier, didn't like it, go back and revisit. It's really something special.
And that was also Woody Allen's first true drama, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. It very much is. Yeah, it's it's amazing. Just quickly, I had dated somebody at one point who wanted to see a dramatic Woody Allen film, and I don't think she had completely, she was divorced, but had not completely dealt with her baggage from her divorce. And so when she saw this film, it hit her in such a way she couldn't even speak to me afterwards. She just left immediately. Wow. She said, "All right, I will send you an email. I'll explain later." And she told me later that this movie forced her to deal with some things that she had compartmentalized herself. And that just shows you the power of film. It was an incredible moment for me. So it's that kind of movie. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that film also got I believe it was nominated for a BAFTA. So he continued his string of getting some recognition from those who hand out awards as well. Talking about Woody Allen, getting that recognition for what he did. We knew this, so we could not mention Keaton without Woody Allen because of their connections and what they were able to do together was just amazing works of art for sure. Well, I'm going to go in a completely different direction. I'm going to 1987's Baby Boom. This was a surprise hit. There were not a lot of expectations for this film, but Keaton stars as this business exec that ends up becoming a mom in one of the most unusual ways. And it's the first film that I actually, or the first Keaton film that I saw with the woman who is now my bride, Beth Manning, and she was Beth Lamb at the time, and she loved this film. We met in '88, and so we saw it together on a VHS tape. And I remember she just talked about how much she loved it, and so I remember us watching this together, and it was just such a marvelous film. It had this, for me, it had this Frank Capra kind of vibe for it, which was unusual and kind of unexpected. And I thought it was just a wonderful romantic comedy. And I'm glad that I got to be introduced, or I got to be introduced to Diane Keaton with my bride in this way. And then we went back, of course, and watched other Keaton films together. But just a beautiful and fun film for sure. And you get to see some slapstick, and you get to see a lot of other things, and you realize that Keaton can and could do it all. So Baby Boom from 1987 is one that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned.
That's I think that was her first collaboration with the director of Something's Gotta Give, and
so screenplay was written by Nancy Myers, and it was directed by Charles Shire.
Nancy Myers. That's the name I was looking for. Sorry. Senior moments. Yes.
That's all right. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got, why don't we take a quick intermission, Adam? Then we'll come back and dive into more of these films as we talk about the life and legacy on film of Diane Keaton. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
As Cleveland County's premier event facility, LeGrand Center is the ideal location for any event. The LeGrand Center is located 45 minutes west of Charlotte, 45 minutes north of Spartanburg, and just a little over an hour east of Asheville. Whether you're a small business looking for a place for an off-site meeting or a bride looking for that special location for her wedding, LeGrand Center is the perfect place for you.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch?
Hello, welcome back to Meet Me in the Movies. Noel T. Manning II here with my good buddy Adam Long, talking about Diane Keaton, the legacy, the legend, the amazing talent that she was on and off camera. We're talking about some films that we feel are standouts that you may want to make notes of and go back and check out. So, Adam, what else is on your queue for films for folks to check out relating to Diane Keaton?
Well, of course, one more Woody Allen film. I don't mean for this to be an entire Woody Allen show because she did so many other things, but this is worth mentioning, and that's Love and Death, which was the first film. I think it was the third collaboration. They were, of course, in Play It Again, Sam, although Woody didn't direct that. He wrote, it's based on a play. Herbert Ross, who later directed Footloose, directed Play It Again, Sam. And then they made Sleeper, which is a futuristic sci-fi type film. But Love and Death is a turning point in Woody's career because it's the first time that he's actually there's some more serious stuff here along with the jokes. Before that, his movies were just joke, 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 and this was a more there was a good combination of more food for thought and the jokes, of course. But it's a send-up of Russian literature, and she's just great in it. Woody is it's just filled with incredible one-liners. It's a film that I revisit a lot. My son is a huge fan of it. He grew up with it and is a big fan of it as well. And it's just kind of there's quotes that are, it's one of those films in our family that we quote and reenact scenes from it. And there's a scene in the film where Woody is trying to flirt with the countess, and my son he put a fan in front of his face and do he would mimic Woody's emotions in the film, and it's the funniest thing you've ever. It's just a film in our family that means a lot, and so Love and Death is it's just very good stuff, and it was, like I said, certainly a turning point for Woody in his career, and it turned 50 this year, so it's worth talking about Love and Death, but yeah, so I'll leave it at that.
Awesome. Well, I will dive into a film that is a family favorite, Father of the Bride, a remake that was released in 1991 with Diane Keaton starring as Nina Banks, a mother whose daughter's going to be getting married, and you've got her opposite of Steve Martin, who is the father who is literally trying to pull his hair out. He's having a midlife crisis, and he realizes his baby girl, his daughter is getting married, and he is going crazy. And so Diane Keaton tries to keep him calm, and it just doesn't happen. And you've also got Martin Short that shows up in this as the planning or the wedding director. And I tell you, we've seen now just how well that chemistry is between Martin Short and Steve Martin in the streaming and television world. But man, it really, I think you saw the genesis of what was going to be happening here, and you knew that even though they had a relationship before, that it was going to be lasting long into the future. But Diane Keaton was wonderful as the mom here, and then in the sequel that came just a few years after was equally as wonderful. And this honestly found a way to cement Keaton's role in these 90s family comedies. And you're talking almost 20 years after she was launching her career, and she still was finding new audiences. Both of my kids love this film, especially my daughter Catherine, drawn to this film. But the film itself, she watched it on probably VHS or DVD, but she really, really loved this film, and it's one that she'll continue to kind of go back to. So, Father of the Bride from 1991, and it was also a box office hit as well. And so I wanted to make sure I mentioned that one just because of the family connections that I have with that film.
Oh yeah, it's a favorite for many, many people, and I remember fondly when it came out at that time of the movie business, which is unfortunately a time long gone. Those types of films really don't get made anymore. Unfortunately, and that was a Disney film. Let's remember that's a Disney film. Can you imagine a time when Disney would make a romantic comedy and put it in wide release?
Yeah, and a family romantic comedy.
Exactly.
What was so unique about it was it spoke to families. And I at that time I remember speaking to I was at the movie theater, and then there was a guy that was leaving the theater with me, and he just had tears in his eyes, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" He said, "Yeah." He says, "I'm sorry." He says, "My daughter's getting married in about 3 months," and he said, "This movie just hit me in a whole different way." And that again goes back to what you said earlier, that cinema and story has a way of speaking beyond just what we see on screen. It speaks to who we are, what we're experiencing, our perspectives. It can say so much and do so much. So Father of the Bride, wanted to make sure I mentioned that one. All right, buddy. What else you want to make sure you cover before we say so long? And we've got a few minutes, but I just want to make sure you get to cover some other things too, buddy.
Oh yeah, well we'll two more, and we'll just try to move this along.
We're good. I'll let you know if we have to rush it. We're okay.
All right. Well, this next one is one that definitely needs to be talked about, and that's Looking for Mr. Goodbar, released in the fall of 1977, around this time of the year, October of 77. Like I said, I remember fondly the posters hanging in the theater windows, advertising it when it was coming, and the newspaper ads. Another thing that is a thing of the past, newspaper movie ads, and
Right.
yeah. And Annie Hall was released earlier in the year, so it was obviously, like we talked about, a romantic comedy. And here in this film, it's based on a Judith Rosner bestseller, which was a fictionalized version of a true event. It was basically about a school teacher who was murdered on New Year's Eve in, I believe it was 1973, I believe it was, or maybe it was, well, they discovered the body. I think it was like New Year's Day, 1973. But essentially it was a woman who had become addicted to the nightlife of going to clubs and hooking up with men, as they say, and it basically proved to be her downfall. She brought home one of those people, and basically she was murdered and found the next day. And it's just a really scary story about a woman's descent into this lifestyle. And the character that Keaton plays in the film, she had scoliosis as a child, so she's trying to make up for the inadequacies that she felt as a child. So there's an emotional component to the film. But Richard Gere's in this, Tom Berenger. It's not a perfect film. I'm not going to tell you that it is. It does. I remember Stephen King talking about the ending of it, and he said that his wife tossed her cookies at the final scene.
Wow.
And it's pretty intense. It really is. The film was held up on home video. It never got a DVD release, never got a Blu-ray release because of music rights issues. Thankfully, they worked all that out, and last December we got a 4K Ultra HD release courtesy of Vinegar Syndrome. I have it, and it really looks great, sounds great, and there's some great behind-the-scenes documentaries and stuff, and it was just really great. I ran it for my partner. She was familiar with the more lighter films in the Diane Keaton canon. She was completely surprised at this film, and it really took her by surprise. And the other one, real quickly, Shoot the Moon, a film about divorce starring Diane Keaton and Albert Finney as a couple whose marriage is coming apart. This is directed by Alan Parker, who directed Fame and The Commitments and Midnight Express, and those are just a few of his films that he's known for. Pink Floyd The Wall, a British director, and this was his take on an American family's coming apart at the seams because of this divorce. And it's really powerful stuff, written by Bo Goldman, who was the screenwriter for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I highly recommend that one. It's kind of, you have to do a little digging to find it, but please seek it out. 1982, one of the great films of 82. So there you go.
Yeah, I think that that her role as Faith Dunlap was really Oscar worthy. I think it was one of those that lost out during that time, because it was just a beautiful performance for sure. Shoot the Moon. I want to make sure I mention Something's Got to Give. You kind of teased that a bit earlier.
Yeah.
And to me, that movie from 2003, it redefined midlife romance. It was a romantic comedy, but it wasn't a romantic comedy for the young'uns. You know, it was for those going through midlife. And I think it did something a little different. We typically didn't see films that looked at relationships or older relationships in quite this way. And you talk about the cast in this: Jack Nicholson, Keanu Reeves, Amanda Peet, Frances McDormand. All those starring in this ensemble. Something's Got to Give was also a Golden Globe winner and had a successful box office run as well. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned Something's Got to Give from 2003. And one more I want to mention, just because it's just such a beautiful film to look at. Manhattan from 1979, black and white. And it is a film that celebrates, really, it's a love letter to Manhattan. And I think there's one thing that Woody Allen has always found a way to do really well on screen, is provide these scenic visual postcards to places that mean something to him. We saw it in Manhattan. Of course, we saw it in Midnight in Paris, and and there are others as well. But Manhattan itself, just that visual, just the beauty of the way that was shot, and in black and white, it just really, really does truly come to life. And Meryl Streep also in this film. And I know that you've talked about Manhattan as one that you've appreciated as well.
I do love it. I know there's a problematic aspect with from a storytelling standpoint, because Woody is torn between his relationship. He finds himself attracted to Diane Keaton's character, but he's also somewhat involved with a teenager. And it's still, don't let that hold you up. Just try to enjoy the film, because there's a lot of greatness there, as you said. And Gordon Willis was his regular collaborator, who also shot all three of the Godfather films. We all know those are great performances by Diane Keaton. We don't have to reiterate that. That's why we didn't mention them, because everybody knows about that. But yeah, Gordon Willis, his amazing cinematography for Manhattan, and it was the first time Woody ever worked with a anamorphic format. He shot it in Panavision, so it was the first time he had ever done that, and it's amazing, as you said. So, yeah.
Yeah, Keaton really, she defied what was considered a Hollywood blueprint, and she chose films that she had, I think, passions for, and I think that shows. Over 5 decades, she was quirky at times, but she was always, to me, commanding when she was on screen, no matter what time period that you look at her work. So I just wanted to make sure that we got a chance to celebrate Diane Keaton. She was distinctive. She had this incredible comic rhythm about her as well, and she had style that inspired generations beyond Annie Hall. And I want to make sure I mentioned this quote, which I love, from Diane Keaton. She said, "I never thought of myself as a style icon. I just thought that I had a lot of nerve." And one more, she says, "You get better with age. It's amazing what you can do when you let go of the fears and the insecurities." Diane Keaton celebrating the life, the legacy, and the films right here on Meet Me at the Movies. Any final thoughts, Adam? We've got about 15 seconds.
Yeah, well, she will definitely be missed. And also, she had a second career as an interior decorator, we understand. She flipped a lot of houses and did quite well with that, too. So that's a whole other thing you can look up. There's a New York Times article I'd recommend looking at that. That's pretty interesting.
Well, appreciate everybody for spending time with us. Adam, as always, thanks for your insight and your dialogue. We truly appreciate it. And for everyone who takes the time to be with us, thank you. I'm Noel T. Manning II for Adam Long, and for the entire cast and crew of Meet Me at the Movies. That's a wrap.
Many films to view until we meet again. Next time we see you, we'll gladly fill you in. We'll tell about the happy and the sad ones. We'll talk about the good ones and the bad ones. Many films to view till we meet again.
Washington Outreach Ministries is one of the largest emergency food pantry in Cleveland County. We feed about 15,000 people a month. We have bi-weekly distribution every other Friday, and we serve them with all type of product, not just food product, but all type of necessities. Anything that they need, we have here and we can supply it. Food is available every day, but we offer bi-weekly distribution so the mass of Cleveland County can come through and enjoy some of the food products that we have here.
Hi, I'm Nikki Bliss Carroll, your host for Cleveland Connections, the show that explores what's happening at Cleveland Community College. Join us as we sit down with members of faculty and staff to discuss programs of study, upcoming events, and other exciting campus news. We'll have a new show for you each month on C19 TV, or you can stream us online at c19.tv. Tune in and connect with Cleveland Community College on Cleveland Connections.